We're not born already being able to relate to the world around us. It's something we learn through a process of trial and error, using our senses. And with vision, we have to learn the same as with everything else. A young baby, when it sees its mother's face for the first time, doesn't know what it's looking at. It only learns through a process which I can describe as experience, memory, imagination. First there's the experience. It gets a visual impression of its mother's face. Then there's memory. It builds up memories of this image that it can draw on. And then there's imagination. It can extrapolate from those memories and look for somebody who looks like the memories and recognise its mother. Okay, so how does this process, experience, remember, imagine, relate to vision exercises using, for example, a chart like this one? I'm going to pick a letter to work with, not one of the very big ones because my eyesight isn't that bad, one of the smallish ones, let's say this letter T. So I'm going to hang the chart up fairly high so that the T is at a level where I can see it without having to crane my neck or crouch down. And then I'm going to do this with each eye separately. I'm going to shade one eye and I'm going to look at this letter T, with my left eye. First I'm going to find the distance at which the T appears most clear and distinct to me. Get too close, it goes fuzzy. Get too far away, it goes fuzzy. Sort of somewhere in between, it's at its most distinct. So now, I close my eyes. I've got my experience, my impression of that letter T at its best. So now I can remember that. I can think, oh yeah, it had a shape, it was sort of like this with fiddly bits on it. I can imagine drawing the outline of the letter. I can imagine it being really, really black. I can imagine the white around it being really, really white, because if it's perfectly clear, then there will be a sharp contrast between the black of the letter and the white of the card around it. So having now had my experience and focused on my memory, I can now imagine this letter being really clear, and I can position myself in front of it again at my perfect distance with the same eye again. Just reinforce that impression. Then I can close my eyes and I can move a little bit back. And then being really relaxed and holding in my mind the imagination of this letter being perfectly clear and sharp, I can just open my eyes and take another look. Here's memory and imagination in action. This is me. This is my memory of the letter as I was seeing it most clearly from the best distance. This is the letter from the new distance, a bit further back, possibly not so clear. I'm not trying to make my eyes do anything because I've been practicing relaxation techniques, palming and swinging, and I'm allowing them to do what they do quite naturally, automatically of their own accord. They zoom in and out to find the best focus. In my imagination, I'm comparing this with what I'm getting from out there. And I recognise when this matches this most closely, and my brain says, stop, that's right. It's really useful to practice this. Close your eyes, imagine what the letter would look like if it was perfectly clear, and then look at the letter. And it's useful for two reasons. Firstly, what you're doing is mimicking the natural process of seeing, and so you're encouraging your brain to find its way back into what it should be doing. And secondly, you can't imagine if you're in a state of strain. So if you're practicing imagination, you're also practicing letting go of strain. And this will also help with vision.